So we started social media in March of last year. We had some girls from a TV show that were coming to stay. And they were like, we want to, share about it. We want to post about it. And we're like, okay, this is like, we have to make it happen. We finally were just like, this is the push. We have to at least get one post out there so then they can tag us and put it on there. And ever since then, it's just blown up. And we realized how much we were missing out not having it. I think a lot of what has brought people into our account is just posting our favorite things to do in Nashville kind of list.
Welcome to another episode of the STR Sisterhood. I'm your host, Stacey St. John. And before we jump in today, I just want to say a huge thank you. I know that you have very little time and your time is so precious. And I am so grateful that you have chosen to spend a few minutes of your day with me today. Now, before we jump into this episode, I'm going to read a quote to you that I recently read, and I think it's pretty darn cool. It says, I realize everybody wants what they don't have, but at the end of the day, what you have on the inside is much more beautiful than what's on the outside. I couldn't agree more. Those beautiful words come to us from actress Selena Gomez. Now, in this episode, we are sitting down with Jen and Lauren, two sisters who are running a very successful property management business in Nashville, Tennessee. And they're sharing behind the scenes scoop into what their day-to-day looks like, how their roles are built, and what they're doing to stay ahead of the competition. So without further ado, let's jump into my conversation with Jen and Lauren. So today we are here with two sisters, Jen Stone and Lauren Schmidt. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
Yes. This is so fun. It's very rare that I get to interview two people at the same time, but I don't know if I've ever interviewed two sisters. So this would be really interesting. Let's kick off and have you share a little bit about who you are and what you do together. Lauren, I'll start with you.
My name is Lauren Schmidt. I'm the older sister of the two, and I've been in the short-term rental management business for about 11 years now. Kind of got into it organically with my husband back then, and then it's grown gradually. And then Jen and I have worked together for about 4 years now. I just got to the point where I have small children now. I just needed some help. I wanted everything to stay running at the same level. And now that we work together, I could not work together. We both have our roles that are really fun. We got into it early in Nashville. Now Nashville's exploded, but it's just been fun to see how the business has changed. Just in the last year, our business has changed a lot. The way we run it, the way the market is, and it's been really fun.
Now, Jen, we know now that you're the younger of the two.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what it's been like working with your older sister.
It has been really fun. So we are in, very different life stages. She's married, has 3 kids. I'm younger. I started working with her right out of college. And so I think that's like where we brought a lot of pro quo kind of stuff into the mix. So I feel like I've brought a lot of the like younger aspect and, especially with Nashville being, big Bachelorette business, lots of 21st birthdays, or even just like the social media aspect. I think I've been able to like bring that into here with us working together. And with Lauren, I mean, her years and years of expertise, she's taught me everything that she knows. And so it's been beneficial in that regard where I've brought some new aspect or ideas or changes, and it's the best working with your sister. I mean, we're talking nonstop every day, sending each other different links to different things. And I mean, it's the best.
That's awesome. That's a really good answer, knowing your sister is right next to you on the screen.
Yes.
Yes. So, Lauren, I want to ask you, when you first started out in the industry, what brought you to short-term rentals? I know you said you kind of got into this organically with your husband. Give us the scoop. How did that happen?
Yeah. So we were at this is before we had kids, but we were at a friend's child's birthday party, and somebody was talking about they put their house on Airbnb to make money during CMA Fest, which isn't popular in Nashville. And I've always been like a hustler. I love rentals and real estate, and I just love to hustle especially before I had kids. But anyways, I looked into it, and then we had just gotten married. We had no money and we had just barely bought our first home here in Nashville. And we didn't know what we were doing. Threw it up there with pictures and it just booked up like instantly. And a part of us were like, oh no, like, what are we going to do? But we were so excited to have a few extra dollars. So, we eventually actually just decided to move out. And then we did it a couple of times where we moved and then turned that into an Airbnb. And then from there, people reached out to manage theirs or design theirs with the decor and staging. And it's just slowly grown since then. We have a niche here in Nashville where a lot of our properties are close together. Like we've got 6 homes together or 5 homes together. So we get a lot of big weddings, family reunions, corporate groups. So that's been kind of like a new part of our niche that my husband and I didn't have in the beginning. So it's just grown just kind of step by step that way.
So fun. Jen, I want to ask you, I know each of you have different roles and responsibilities. How did you map that out early on? Or when Lauren came to you, what did you all just figure that out, as you were going? What did that look like?
Yeah. So originally, whenever I started working with Lauren, the role was some of like Lauren's personal assistant slash working with her on the rentals. So it was a slow entry into the STR in the beginning. And I remember my very first day working with her, she like sent me all these ideas of things to do. And I was like, hold on, I'm catching up. I need to figure out, what this means or how Airbnb works or Verbo or, any of that. I, had to learn how to use the apps and things like that. But I mean, with our roles, I would say, Lauren is, the on it with the guest communication, that kind of stuff. I think I'm a lot more of the admin, such as like sending check-in information. If there's like a quick, answering, like you need some early check-in, need something at the rental, doing the stock kind of stuff, scheduling the cleaners, all of that kind of stuff. So I think I'm a little bit more of the admin, back of house kind of things. But I message a lot of guests. But the way like we've been working together for over 4 years now, I mean, I think either one of us can step in and do anything in the business at any point. So that's been the biggest beneficial is, both of us can do everything.
Absolutely. I'm curious, Lauren, when you first thought about asking Jen, hey, do you want to work together? What was it that made you realize, oh, I really need some help?
Well, I had known for a minute that I could use some help. I think right around then I had just had my second baby and like there's when you run your own business, there's not like a leave or a stopped point. And I just did a little
24/7 all the time.
yeah. And I needed some balance. I needed some help for me to be able to manage the business the way I wanted and to be a mom the way I wanted to be. So that's really when I knew that I needed some help. I was just like, I wish I had two of me to do all of this. And then now I feel like I've two of us, there's two of me, two of us. Plus, Kim does a lot of things. Like she can do all the business things I do. Plus, she does pretty much all of the social media stuff. She's the younger sister and she's really good at it. So, I mean, I can't not work together now.
Yeah. She needs me. I've made my role necessary.
Yeah. All right. So Jen, tell us, knowing that you manage the social media, what has been your focus for what you're posting for social media, and what have you found has given you the biggest amount of traction?
Honestly, so we started social media in March of last year. I think giving a little background. So we started it as we had some girls from our TV show that were coming to stay and they were like, we want to, share about it. We want to post about it. And we're like, okay, this is like, we have to make it happen. We have to get something on there because we've been talking about an Instagram account for years. And we finally were just like, this is the push. We have to at least get one post out there, get a account so then they can tag us and put it on there. And ever since then, it's just blown up and we realized how much we were missing out not having it. But mainly what I guess I focus on posting is just, some information about each of our homes. But I think a lot of what has brought people into our account is just posting our favorite things to do in Nashville kind of list. That was our biggest hit that went really viral. And then it brought in floods and floods of messages and comments or people being like, hey, send me your properties. We have a huge group coming in town. What do you have? And that's changed our business drastically, is just being able to advertise even, hey, are you looking for somewhere in Nashville for 60 people to stay? We have that. Not many people do.
Right.
And so I think it's a lot of posting the things to do in Nashville. Hey, we can host your large groups, because I think that that is something that we are very unique in, where a lot of other Airbnbs in the area just have like a one Airbnb account, for their singular property. But I think that's been our biggest goal, is just kind of getting the word out there, being like, you want to contact us. Our reviews are incredible. But I think that's been the biggest
Yeah.
that people have reacted to, as well as our pink themed properties here in Nashville. That's been the biggest hits. Everybody wants to stay at the pink babe house, Nashville doll house, and the girls trip house. Those are our number one on Instagram that everybody comments about. So,
well, I love me some pink, so maybe I need to stay there. Now, I have a question. So at this point, I know, Lauren, you had said that, hey, we started building this portfolio. To date, are they all properties that you own? Are you managing for other people or doing co-hosting? What's your business model look like?
It's a mix. I wish that we owned them all, but some of them, and then some of them we manage for other owners.
So
Yeah.
how did you get all the 5 or 6 houses together? What did that look like? Are they all under a singular owner, or did you start knocking on people's doors? What did that look like?
So one guy who has the majority of the homes that we manage here in Nashville, he is a developer and he liked the business, but he travels and he doesn't have time to mess with it. So he brought in to decorate and manage one building. Was 6 homes at first, and then that killed it, went really well. So he invested in a second building of 5 homes that are together. So we have kind of 2 locations. And that's been really fun. And then eventually it grew out of Nashville. We go to 30A a lot with our family, and our family has a house there. And Jen's been kind of taking the lead on some things there. And then my husband and I just invested in a property there. So we're trying to kind of build that 30A portfolio as well. I'm excited to get our personal home there up and going, but it's definitely a mix. And people we manage for are fantastic. So that makes it a lot better. Yeah.
Talk to me about the developer that you are working with. Did the developer find you? Did you find the developer? What did that look like?
He found me. He originally planned to sell the houses, and then just the way the market was, it made more sense to hold on to him for a little bit. So Airbnb was kind of like starting to be a hot topic then, and he looked into it. He found me through our listing and liked the decorating we did, and he realized we had a mutual contact. So he got my contact, reached out, and the rest is history. I mean, we worked together now 10 years probably, and he had gone through 2 other people like in the 3 months before me. So that made me kind of nervous. I was like, you've already turned 2 people, but I think that they just weren't a good fit. And we bring different strengths. He's a great businessman. He just doesn't have time to mess with this stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, but that's how we got together. He saw our decorating.
Amazing. And I know, Jen, Lauren said that you're spearheading some of the stuff down in 30A.
Yeah.
What have you noticed about being in a market that's not right around the corner?
It's been really great. The people that are going to the beach, they're the most, happy. They're ready for vacation mood. It's different in Nashville. There's always, some business professionals or things like that are not just coming in town to hoorah and have a great time. So I feel like the people down at the beach, they're wonderful. As far as like managing from a distance, we have set up such an incredible cleaning crew down there, and they have been our saving grace, basically. They're incredible. We have never had any review less than 5-star since we've had them. They're incredible. And I mean, we couldn't do it without them.
talk to me how you found the cleaning crew, because I know that that is such
Mhm.
a pain point for so many people. Is, as we all know, the cleaners will make or break our
Mhm.
businesses, right?
Absolutely.
Talk to me about how you sourced the cleaning crew.
Yeah. So whenever our family purchased that property down there, we had interviewed the current cleaners that were there. And, we got to stay at the home right after they cleaned it. We weren't particularly thrilled. And especially after talking to them, we were like, I can't foresee this being a good fit for us. I believe we got the recommendation from I think it was either the HOA or it was our realtor. Maybe had he had a list of links. So it could have been somewhere in there. I can't remember exactly, but I'm grateful for whoever it was that sent them over because as soon as we interviewed them, we were like, yes, they're wonderful. They're the fit. She was mentioning all these things that I would have never even thought to bring up in an interview. And they kill it. They're incredible. So
Yeah.
that's been great.
Was there something that was in particular they said at the interview stage where you're like, okay, this is the person? Or was it just an overall vibe that you got? Tell me about that.
Um, it was a vibe. Something funny she did say, though, that I think Lauren and I still talk to you about this day is in the interview, she was very like, I train all of my girls to do X, Y, and Z. And one thing that kind of stuck with me was that she said that she always makes sure that they sit on the toilet and look around, look at the baseboards, make sure, because that's when people are sitting and checking out the area.
Oh,
And I was like, that's genius. I was like, I would have never thought to ask that, but you get it and you know exactly what to do. So
I,
it
I
was
call
really
that my,
fun.
I call that my toilet test. So
Yes, exactly.
I train all my cleaners.
Yeah.
I do ask them to keep their pants pulled up when
Yes,
they're doing this, but your pants pulled up, sit on the toilet and look
Uh-huh.
around. Why?
Right.
It's the first thing when people are going on vacation. They've
Mhm.
been in the car for 12 hours
Yeah.
or 6 hours or however long. They come in,
Mhm.
they put down their luggage, and what's the first thing they do? They
Yeah.
pee,
Yeah.
right? So let's make sure that everything
Right.
on that toilet looks amazing. Yeah.
Mhm. Exactly. So that's what sold us actually. They were great. And I mean, couldn't couldn't be happier with them. We wish that we could duplicate them here in
Yeah.
Nashville. They do so many little extra things there at the beach that, our ones here in Nashville don't do, but they're incredible here in Nashville. But it's just two very different businesses
Yeah.
that are held.
And do you, for your properties in Nashville, do you have the same cleaners for all of those properties? Okay.
Yes. Yes. It's two people that they work together and they are full-time cleaners for us. Every
Okay.
once in a while, we have a few backups that we have used many times just in case, one of them is sick or, we have multiple turnovers in a day. So we need multiple people. But we have a couple backups that we've used multiple times that are great and we've never had any
Mhm.
issues with. So,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
that's the
awesome.
biggest thing with this business, having multiple contacts, multiple people to reach
Oh,
out
yeah.
to in case of emergency.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
It's so important that we've got backups and backups for our backups.
Exactly.
Talk to me about quality and consistency beyond cleaning. I know, Lauren, you had mentioned, the design piece of it is something that sets your properties apart. How do you manage the quality and the consistency in the design? Are you doing the design yourself? Are you outsourcing that? What does that look like?
Yes, we're doing it ourselves, and we kind of, I guess we have, with the pink houses aside, other than that, it's kind of an aesthetic that and a vibe that we want to be pretty consistent at them. So, for example, like when our family bought a house down there, since it was going to be on our profile, we want for it to have the same thing. So we want to have some control. Like Jen just took on a new home down in 30A, and she's, said if we're going to work together, you've got to agree to let me come in and spend some money, switching
Mm.
some art and furniture. Like it's got to be that. Whereas that's different because a lot of property management companies will just come in and whatever decor they've got, they'll just roll with it, which is a lot easier than coming in yourself and
Mhm.
art and doing all this stuff. But we want it to, look as good as possible. It's good for everybody, the guests, the owners, and then we make more money too. So we
Yeah.
want them to look great. And
We want the properties to be a reflection of us too, and it's important to us that they look really great on our portfolio. And, that's why we always have such amazing reviews. We might get a slightly better quality couch or chair, or anything like that, just so that the guests are more comfortable.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to say this, like you can have a beautifully designed property, but if it's poorly run, you're not going to get great reviews. So I think you're doing something right on the operational side as well.
Mhm.
Uh, Talk to me. I know Lauren, you had mentioned, or maybe Jen mentioned that you do a lot of the guest communications. Do you have any other team members that are supporting running the portfolio, or is it only you and Jen? And tell me what a typical day looks like.
typical day is kind of crazy. It's not always consistent. It is just me and Jen that do the communication. We have watched multiple demos for property management softwares, and we may cave to it at some point. There's just so many. I guess I'm not saying we can do it better than AI, but there's so many specific things people ask or questions that they ask, and
Mhm.
we are open to it. We just haven't pulled the trigger on that. And right now, we've been able to have a great response rate, with us. So we're looking at those, but we haven't gone down that road yet. It's just us.
Mhm.
And are you using a PMS at all?
No, we're not. We've looked at them, but we haven't pulled the trigger.
Okay. Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
That's amazing. I
Mhm.
mean, uh, and are you using a dynamic pricing tool?
No, we're not. So we kind of weekly have a way we do vacancy and then kind of adjust it. Back in the beginning, I mean, it's not just Airbnb. I mean, it's VRBO or Verbo, any of them. Some of the prices they suggest, um, like you can clearly see don't make sense. Or not saying we know everything, but there's some things I feel like we do know. So it makes me hesitant to go down that road. I think eventually we are like the tools are getting better and we are open to that. But
Mhm.
it's hard to like relinquish the control too,
Mm,
when you're doing it a while. But we want to work smarter too. So we're kind of on that fence right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, the thing about a dynamic pricing tool is it is just that it's a tool, and you have to consider it like a car. You are
Mhm.
still going to drive the car and you still need to drive the car. Right now, you might be walking or on a scooter, right, to get from point A to point B. But if you had a car, you might be able to maximize that revenue more quickly.
Mhm.
And there could be spots, and I, of course, don't know the back end details of your business, but there could be spots where you're leaving money on the table
Mhm.
um, without that dynamic pricing tool. So I know we just met, but I'm gonna lovingly nudge you to utilize a dynamic pricing tool at a minimum. And the other thing too about a property management software, it does allow you to save a ton of time. I feel like you can build obviously some automations and templates and all that kind of fun stuff in Airbnb. And I think again, utilizing a PMS will give you more keys to your kingdom, shall we say, to operate in the most efficient way. But I'm gonna lovingly nudge you to look at a PMS as well with the size of your portfolio, right? You've got a wonderful size portfolio. So
You. Is
yeah,
there one specifically that you recommend?
that's a good question. If you had 1 to 3 listings, which I know you don't, if you had 1 to 3 listings, I would say even just utilizing a platform like Future Stay, which will build out a direct
Mhm.
booking website, is a phenomenal way to get started. Now, your portfolio, what you've got 17, is that correct?
Mhm.
17
Yes.
properties. I mean, I would say something like an OwnerRes or a Guesty,
Mhm.
or one of those two tools is probably going to give you the most robust amount of levers to pull, shall we say. I
Mhm.
would recommend that folks look at least 3 property management softwares before making a determination. Another
Mhm.
one that you might look at is Hostfully. They're consistently building new functionality into their platform. So that could also be one. I mean, there's so many property
Right.
softwares, but I would say, I used OwnerRes for years. And so I can speak to that one first and foremost, where it's got just a ton of functionality. And if the folks that OwnerRes are listening, I apologize in advance for what I'm about to say. But I would say their UI, their user interface could stand to be upgraded. There's a ton of functionality and it kind of looks like, 1990 called and they want their furniture back, that type of, when it
I
comes,
understand.
but the actual functionality is phenomenal. Okay. Whereas Guesty, on the other hand, is very, and I've never used Guesty, right? So I can't speak to the functionality, but on the user interface perspective, it is very solid. It's very easy to understand and use. And Hostfully is also very easy to understand and use. So anyway,
We've looked at SD before. And yeah, I agree. I think that we would have to kind of like revisit and look at a few of them to kind of make a decision.
yeah, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. It's dealing with tech is certainly something that can feel a little overwhelming for folks too, especially I was going to say for folks that are even more seasoned or an older generation who sometimes they're coming into this industry as like their retirement gig, right? And they may not be very tech savvy. It can feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not even going to do anything because I just don't feel comfortable utilizing the tech the way that I know it needs to be. I don't know how old you both are, but you both look like you're young. And so I'm going to say, you're going to be able to catch on with no issue whatsoever. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
love it. Love it. All right. So we talked about quality and consistency. I want to ask you, I know you mentioned that there are some parameters that you utilize for recognizing, is this property going to fit in our portfolio? I'm curious how you have those conversations because I do the same thing. And sometimes it's a challenging discussion to have to say, hey, in order for me to manage it, this is what I need to have happen because you don't want to make the owner feel like their baby is ugly, right? But sometimes we just need to give it a little zhuzh, right? In order for it to fit our portfolios. How are you having those discussions with owners and how are they receiving the information?
So let me first preface, we are growing somewhat slowly. So we are very selective whenever we are even interested in adding another property to begin with. So we don't do very often. However, it's mainly a vibe with the owners and how we feel they will be in communication with us. Our biggest goal is that we want our owners to be very hands off. We want them to feel like, they don't have to do anything. And I mean, most of our owners we really don't communicate with unless they're wanting us to block off their property for them to use it, things like that. As far as like the homes, I think we just kind of look at the value as a whole in the area. As far as like 30A, for example, it's a specific vibe. We know what we're looking at. We know it's a popular area. So pretty much anything in that area we're happy to do, but we always try and gain new properties prior to them being already listed or anything like that. So we try and catch them on the front end whenever they're purchasing the property. So that way we can get in and decorate it how we want. They're usually more flexible with that rather than being like, oh, but we've purchased all of these things. Can we use them? And, it might not be things that we particularly like. So it's kind of avoiding that conversation altogether. For most of our owners that, we do manage for, they're happy with, whatever we want to do as far as decorating or in that regard.
And how are you determining what ballpark budget? So I know we talked about spending other people's money, but how are you determining, okay, this is how much I think we should spend on this property? Is it just based on your experience? Is it based on other things that you've bought? Is it based on a new idea that you have? So talk to me a little bit about that.
Mainly just based on our experience. We haven't done much growth in Nashville. So as far as I'm growing the, 30A side of things, it's mainly just experience because we have several different properties that, sleep a different amount or have some of them have all en suite bathrooms. Some of them don't, that's a big change in some properties too. So it's mainly just on experience and seeing how our personal family property went out because that was our very first one in that area. And then just kind of going from there. But I mean, unless Lauren has anything else to chime in, but I think it's mainly just, our personal experience and what we've seen. We've tracked all the data with what we've made at different properties, different months of the year and things like that.
Yeah. And I think pretty quickly, like if it's going to be a good fit. Like Jen like evaluated one of them, and I know she said they had it was a beautiful home. It had a lot of potential, but there were a lot of changes that needed to be made. Like they had a massive family picture portrait in the living room and a beautiful family, but they were kind of attached to that staying there and just some other things like crafty things that the wife had done and
A lot of knick-knack kind of things.
yeah, and so if you kind of have that first evaluation, like these things would need to go, this is how it'll go. Almost like we'd love to work together, but like a scare off email kind of, just to not waste anybody's time. Like I know Jen has done a couple of evaluations for those homes recently, and sometimes it's a great fit, and sometimes it's probably not. And that's okay. Yeah.
Yep. There you go. There you go. I find that having discussions with owners, and I do it now, I've got a team that handles most of the calls, but when I did it early on, I would share, hey, in order to work with me, it has to fit within my portfolio. This is what we need to do. It's going to cost about X amount of dollars based on my experience. And if this is not a good fit, that's okay. Right. So being willing to just be open and honest and upfront about if you were to manage it or co-host it, what it would look like and what it would require. That way they can make an informed decision on, okay, is this a good potential for me? And I always share with people, if I'm not the right fit, that's totally fine. And I'll introduce you to someone who doesn't have the same standards that I do have, right? And will gladly take on any property.
Yeah.
And I think, it's not to put anyone else down. It's just everybody's standards are different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And like what Lauren was saying earlier, I think we both have that hustler mentality. So it's hard for us to, say no to business in the beginning. I think we felt very well, maybe we should try and figure out a way to make it work or, things like that. And then it quickly moved into, no, this is what we have to offer. We do know what we're doing to a regard. And, if someone does want to work with us, it would need to match our standards and look to be able to be in our portfolio. So
yeah,
totally agree with what you said.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to switch gears a little bit and I want to talk to you about dealing with bachelorettes and first birthdays, because for so many people, that just sounds like a complete nightmare. And I just want to get the inside scoop. What's it really like? So talk to me a little bit about maybe what you feel like are myths and truths when it comes to hosting bachelorettes. I'll tell you what I think. Okay.
Yeah.
I just picture vomit everywhere.
That is not true, I will say. Our properties, they're very pricey, in my opinion, for a weekend. However, it's, 12 people that are going to be splitting it. I think that these are luxury properties and the price reflects the quality that they're going to receive. And typically that attracts a higher quality guest. So I will say, I feel that the people that are booking with us for the bachelorettes for the 21st birthdays, it is typically a higher quality guest than the cheaper kind of stay.
Just somebody trying to get
Someone trying to get in and have a party vibe. Everyone is a lot of them are even, they're in their 30s or even 40s. They're trust me, don't worry about us. We're gonna be in bed by 9, or whatever. Like we have a lot of guests that are like that, that are just like, we're not here to party or like we're gonna be out the entire time. We're literally just sleeping at the property or, things like that.
Mhm.
So
I will say that while there's not vomit everywhere, thankfully,
thankfully.
there is makeup everywhere and spray tan. Like sometimes it almost like looks like on the bed you can like see your body or something. But thankfully we got smart and we got a lot of the makeup towels, which we have in all the homes now. But we used to supply like makeup remover and everything. It was like you could see their face on the wall. But thankfully we just have tons and tons of those. Like we don't just give them two, we give them a lot so that they can
Okay.
makeup off with that every time. And that has helped tremendously. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like we've seen it all with The Bachelorette. Like, we've got thankfully, we don't have any of the horror stories.
Mhm.
I feel like you see, online or whatever. But, we've seen every decoration you can imagine, and pictures and just their itineraries are really funny to see sometimes. But overall, I mean, we're thankful. We've had a lot of great guests and groups come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you screening your bachelorettes in any way?
No, we don't screen them in any regard. I mean, we just treat everybody the same, and if they want to book, great, we'd love to have them. The pink properties are obviously like our go-to ones for that, and I mean, everybody's just trying to have a fun girls trip, and
Mhm.
I mean, they're all just grateful and happy to come. So I don't feel like we've ever had anyone that were like, maybe we should like backtrack. I think there's
No,
like only a few times where like if they have like a 615 number, like we might message them, which is, a Nashville area code. We might message them and be like, hey, we don't typically rent to locals. We want to make sure you're not throwing a party at our house, anything like that. So I would say that's the only real screening that we're, I guess, looking
yeah.
at.
I feel like the sites do a lot of that for you too, because you can see their reviews from other stays. And we've had a couple of times with Airbnb specifically where they're like, hey, this is a high risk guest.
Yeah, they'll alert us if there is any, reason for warning or cause, any kind of issue. But if for some reason we do get a message, which is like very rare, we do message the guests. We're like, hey, Airbnb said XYZ might be potential for risk. Do you know anything about this? And then sometimes those people just don't message back. And we do think it was somebody trying to do a party or something like that. And so I feel like it's that same like almost scare tactic we were talking about before. I'm like, I want everyone to stay if they can, but if you're going to come in here and throw a party and, do something crazy, then let's just
Right.
let's just part ways now.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So, Jen, I want to move to the lightning round. Okay. So, I'm going to ask you to answer with the very first thing that comes to mind with a few questions. First
Okay.
question is, I think I'm going to know your answer, but where is your favorite place to vacation?
Yeah, 30A.
I knew you were going to say that.
We're actually going this weekend, so we'll be there for a whole week
Oh,
next week.
amazing. Now, when you go down there, will you incorporate some business while you're on vacay?
It's very hard not to. I think we'll try and unplug as much as possible, but I know that we'll be doing some work for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Where is some place you've never been that you want to visit?
I'm biased, but Italy is somewhere I really want to go. I'm actually getting married there in October this year, but we've never been. So
Okay, well, let's talk about that. So you're planning a wedding in
yes, planning a
city
wedding.
where you've never been.
Yes.
What made us decide to do this, Jen?
Um, it's honestly crazy. Truthfully, so I got engaged the end of November, and all of December we spent looking at venues here in Nashville. And I mean, they're pricey here in Nashville.
Mhm.
And one of our friends who had recently got married in Italy, and she was like telling us about how amazing the experience is. She actually works in the Nashville wedding industry. So she was, telling us about it and was like, it actually ends up being about the same price and you can host a bunch of people to stay. And we were like, tell us more. So we actually ended up booking the same venue that she got married at. It made us feel more comfortable. We were like, she's been there. It went awesome.
Yeah.
I think my fiance and I were very we're quick to make decisions, and we're just like, yeah, that sounds great. Why not? And all of our closest family and friends said that they can go. So we were like, there's no reason to say no. Let's do it.
That's
And
so cool. So what
yeah,
part of Italy?
it's in Tuscany. It's in a town called Lucca.
Okay.
It's like a huge villa that can sleep 38 people. So it's kind of like 5 townhomes, and it's all king bedrooms and suite bathrooms, the whole thing. And then if anybody else on top of that decides to come, there's a hotel within 5 minute walking right by it. So it's really great. Yeah.
I went to Tuscany for the first time last year, and it was as beautiful as you expect it. Like it
Mhm.
is just stunning.
We
That's
can't wait. We're so excited. My
Oh,
fiance has never even been to Europe, so
oh
he's
my
very
God.
excited.
Well, I will look forward to my wedding invitation. Okay. Just so you know.
Yes.
All right. What is one thing you know now that you wished you knew when you started out in the world of short term rentals?
I guess just how important contacts are, the backups.
Mm.
There will be people calling you at midnight saying the AC is broken. And I think that's like our least favorite part of the job is, anything going wrong,
Yep.
and how important it is to have the backups or
Yeah.
the people that you can call and get it taken care of right away. I think that's something I did not anticipate before working with Lauren. I'd always thought like, this is my big sister. She has the coolest job ever. And, we join, and I still think it's a super fun job, but it's, the reality of all the little things that we do is there's a lot that goes into it.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Next question. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
I think Lauren says this a lot. If somebody is giving you trouble, is to kill them with kindness. And I think that that's been like a big piece of advice that I think both of us kind of work around with this business. If somebody wants to complain or be whatever, just
Yeah.
be as nice as possible. Show them that, you know what you're doing.
Mhm.
And then it typically resolves itself.
Yep. Okay. Last question. What's one thing and or person that you're grateful for today?
Oh, well, I think the obvious answer would be Lauren. I mean, I'm grateful for her. I mean, I talk to her every single day about everything. I don't feel that, work and being sisters has felt separate in any regard. Like, I feel that we are very good about turning it off if we want to change to sister topics or change to work topics. I'm grateful for her. And because of her, where I am today and in the business for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Jen, if people want to learn more about you and or maybe book a place for a bachelorette party, where is the best place for them to find you online?
The best place would just be our Instagram, the Airbnb sisters. You can send us a DM there. You can message us. Our phone number and email is on there as well. So that's the best way to find all of our contact information. And we'd love to have anybody come stay with us.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you, Stacey. We're so glad we could join.